Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Brian Callahan made it official on Wednesday. Mason Rudolph will start for the Titans at quarterback Sunday when they visit the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium. Will Levis heads to the bench. The team will be back on the practice field today. Yesterday, Tyler Boyd, Tony Pollard, and T'Vondre Sweat were among the players that did not practice. Thursday Night Football is in the AFC West tonight. The Broncos visit the Chargers. Both teams currently in the playoff picture as wild card teams. Kickoff is at 7:15. Westwood One coverage pregame starts at 7 here on The Zone. Also tonight, the Nashville Predators look to start putting a winning streak together as the homestand continues, hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins at Bridgestone Arena. 7 p.m. is the puck drop. In college hoops, Belmont takes on UC Irvine. Big mid-major matchup happening at the Curb. Tip-off at 6:30. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. And I have to say, that theme song just never gets old. Gets me pumped every time, makes me want to clap, bang on the table, play the air drums, whatever you call it. Love the theme song.
No doubt. I get jacked up, too.
And I got something I got to get off my chest and have something corrected here.
Uh-oh.
This morning...
Watch out, Sammy.
This morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Yeah, don't worry, I won't pull a Brian Callahan on you.
Oh, okay.
So this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, I don't know how they got on the subject, but Will Bowling sits in the chair that I'm usually sitting in. And he says, every time he has to come in, he has to put the seat down. And I'm getting the blame for it. Now, I was given at least a compliment by Ramon, short king. He called me a short king, and I'm okay with that. I'm a short guy. But I do not move the chair after Buck's in it. So I just want to say that Buck is the one who has the chair up high. I just sit in the chair. I don't mess around with it or anything. And I think Buck likes to feel, a little high because he's tall anyway. He likes to have that high feeling because there's an angle of the camera that makes his face look beautiful in his opinion and stuff like that.
Oh, you're talking about Buck?
Yeah. So I just want it on the record because I know Brent comes in. He says something sometimes about the seat being high. I do not change the seat. I try to just keep the seat wherever it's at because I just don't care.
Oh. Well,
I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, well, I move my seat down as low as it can go so that I keep my hands and my posture upright. Because if I'm up tall, then I'm having to bend over. But I haven't had the complaint.
Yeah.
Well,
probably because you got Don in your seat.
Yeah, well, they may want to be,
maybe
up higher.
So. Yeah. I just wanted on record that's not my fault, Will. Is not my fault. I just keep it where it's at.
Is that where we're at? That's just a sound down the petty line to me. Needy. Needy.
I don't remember how they got on it.
Complain about moving the seat up and down? Really? Well, then bring in your own chair and have it sit in the corner.
Hey, listen, I've been thinking about it because, I sit in Titans Talk Back. I sit over here, I think where Ramon sits, and none of those seats will ever stay up. They always sink me down. Okay. So I've been thinking about bringing in my own seat. I'm with you. But anyway, I just thought it was funny. I just wanted to, throw it out there. Clear my name. It is not me. I am a short king, but I am not the reason that the seat is up so high. Anyway, so let's get into it because we haven't really talked any college football playoffs. We got, obviously University of Tennessee is coming up in the next hour or in the next 30 minutes, I guess. We'll have Ryan Callahan of GoVols247.com talk about the matchup and the maybe a little recruiting and everything, but
Brian and Bill Callahan's cousin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if he really needs to go in and try to get into and just show them their ID and see if he could get in. I think he should.
Yeah, maybe.
But what's interesting about this particular weekend is that there are two high-profile NFL games on at the same time. There are two college football playoff games. And at 11 a.m., SMU at Penn State starts and they kick off. So we're around 11:15. Now, listen, that game could get out of hand, and maybe by the time that the NFL kicks off, typically around 12:15, and it's Houston at Kansas City, people may tune out. But then at the next one, 3:30, it's Pittsburgh at Baltimore, and then at 3 o'clock is Clemson at Texas, which that game may be closer. So I want to ask you, Blaine, because you kind of brought this up.
No, kind of. I did on Monday.
You did. I mean, you did.
Okay, kind of.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be like, wow.
So which do you think is going to get the better ratings? Surely NFL, right? NFL reigns supreme.
Well, I thought this was interesting. The NFL, they knew their schedule. So college football actually were the ones actually going to be competing because they set their schedule. Now, the NFL did move to Saturday, right, Sammy? And so that was a change. But, as much as I think I would tune in more to college football, I think NFL is going to win. This is the first year for the playoffs, so you would think maybe they would win. But it's interesting the timing of the different games. I actually thought that states would be conflicting because the Texans and then Texas play, but they're at different times.
Right.
Penn State and the Steelers play somewhat, I think, closer, or no, they're not. So it was just interesting that
not that it may matter, but SMU is a Texas school.
Right, yes. Yes, it is. So where's that, Fort Worth?
Dallas,
okay. Yeah, so yeah. My buddy Donald Mitchell went there. So I think the NFL is going to win, but man, you will see who will reign supreme in this whole deal. So do you think the NCAA, if you were the NCAA, would you have tried not to schedule this weekend? Because why did the NFL do this Saturday?
This feels like it's an earlier Saturday because it usually
Christmas.
When you brought this up, I go, well, I don't see any games really lining up because I didn't think they played this Saturday. So I didn't bother to look at the NFL schedule because you're right. It's usually after Christmas. And this year, it feels like maybe they caught wind of what the schedule or they remember what the schedule, maybe they made the move to go that route. I still think NFL is going to clear the ratings because NFL's king. There's probably a lot more teams, a lot more fans and viewers out there that are more interested in the outcome of a Houston-Kansas City AFC seeding game and a Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. That's a big rivalry game, and that has playoff implications as well. And I just feel, those should win. But I am interested to see. I think the ratings may be a little bit closer as well, because again, there's 4 games. Like, I kind of want to watch all 4.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know what? I'm gonna say this. You're not smarter than me. Wasn't there law about the NFL playing on Saturdays?
Oh man, if there was, it may have been.
We need a woman to come tell us what really happened.
The law. The reason I don't know because I feel like Saturday's been around for a long, long time now.
I'm just making a guess. Is that I think December 14th was the law where the NFL then can play on
maybe
Saturdays.
This would still be after December 14th then?
Yeah, after December. Yeah. Now, I don't know why I remember that. Maybe I read that somewhere, or maybe I'm making it up. But
I don't know.
Somebody can call in 737-1045 to tell us if that is true, and that's why they did it. I don't know.
The Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. The NFL isn't allowed to televise any games on Friday or Saturday from the second weekend in September through the second weekend in December.
But they already did that because of Black Friday. So that rule, that law, because they had a Black Friday game. This is the first time they've had a Black Friday game. Okay. So I wonder if that has changed. That rule has been changed this year. But Sammy, I want to ask you real quick.
Keep going, because that dawned on me. So I was somewhere right there.
Yeah, you were. What do you think about this scheduling situation?
Oh, I'll 100% be watching college.
Really?
NFL.
Is that because, you're not very interested in Miami this year? And
she's a college girl. She's not an NFL girl.
I mean, I will say, I've always been college over pro. But I think it really depends on where you're at in the country. Because I remember working the MLB, what is it? The conference meetings, the meetings, the winter meetings. That's what it is. Yeah, and I was talking about Tennessee, and they were saying, "What sport? What are you talking about? Titans, they're not doing anything. And I'm like, no, I'm talking about like basketball or baseball. I don't remember what exactly it was I was talking about. And they're like, oh, college? It didn't even dawn on them. I was talking about University of Tennessee. So I think it really just depends on where you are in the country because majority of them are from the north. And they said, all we care about is pro football or Major League Baseball. Yeah. So I think that really will determine, and I'll be curious to see like a ratings map. Where is it the highest in what parts of the country? I think that will play a part in it.
And it's really for people that live in Pennsylvania. This is if you're a Penn State game and a Steelers fan, you have a hell of a day ahead of you. Like you just get to same with Texas and Houston. You just get to have some fun like all day today. Like
all day football.
Don't call me on Saturday. That's what if I was a fan of any of these four or lived in these areas, I'd be like, don't call me on Saturday and don't expect me to go to anything. I'm doing what I'm doing. If you need me, come find me here. This is where I'll be posted up all day.
Well, who do you think, or what, NFL or NCAA, because we haven't heard your opinion, who do you think is going to win this battle?
I think it's going to be NFL. NFL's king.
I know.
I mean, even in Nashville, in bad Tennessee Titans seasons, they still are ratings driven. I mean, it's just NFL's king. It will be interesting, though, to see for this particular year if the Tennessee-Ohio State game is the most watched game in the state of Tennessee for the 2024 sports season. I think that will be really interesting to see because if that game can't beat the NFL, then you just know NFL's king, even if they're bad. That'll be interesting to see. And that was brought up by, someone brought that up somewhere in Keith Thomas in the F&M Bank chat on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. He brought that up, that idea that Tennessee versus Ohio State will be the most watched game in Tennessee. So it'll be interesting to see how that compares to Sunday's game of Tennessee Titans versus Indianapolis Colts. Because
I think Tennessee, the Vols are going to win.
I don't know. It's for some reason. It just never really happens. But maybe it should.
Is king.
It should be.
I'm going with Sammy on this one. I'm going with the Vols.
All right. Y'all are going college all day.
Maybe we'll put that.
College dominating.
No, I didn't say all day. I'm just saying
that game.
Yeah, that's that game. Okay. Just that game. No.
Why don't you put that in a poll if you can, Sammy? What will be the most watched game in Tennessee, ratings-wise this weekend? And then who's going to win the ratings battle in the afternoon slate, college or NFL?
I got it. And right. I'm going to be really sad. I'm going to be in a control room. So I'll be watching college stuff all day. So I'll be in the Vanderbilt control room for men's and women's basketball. Yeah. And I can guarantee those TVs are probably going to have something else programmed on them.
Keith Thomas, all of Tennessee will be watching the Vols.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. All right. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion of the Ohio State versus Tennessee game. And we'll also talk to Ryan Callahan of GoVols247.com. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop, Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 24 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we're now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. It's pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn of his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. Love some Blazer.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045 if you want to get in on the conversation. And we had someone chime in on Twitter, Blaine. It is a listener at GummyGamer8 who says that maybe the law is skirted because the Black Friday game was not televised and only available on streaming services.
Yeah, see, that's how they get.
Maybe that is the reason. Now I don't know if it played on local channels or anything, but I did. I watched mine on streaming, so maybe
I did too.
Maybe there's something to that right there.
It says online it's still in effect.
Okay, so maybe that's how they skirted it. So thank you, Gummy Gamer 8.
Okay.
Thank you. Real quick. I think this line, I don't know what to make of this line in this Ohio State-Tennessee game. It's obviously, I get it, they're in Ohio. But Ohio State is favored by 7.5 points.
That's pretty big.
That seems wildly out of whack to me. And that scares, you know what that means? That scares me. Because that means that Vegas knows something. But I'm thinking, if there's one thing I know, that SEC defenses travel well, and Tennessee Volunteer fans travel even better. So I
did not think you were going to say, well, when you hack the ticket thing.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. When you find creative ways like photoshopping yourself in an Ohio State jersey to fool Ohio State alumni to get tickets. But this seems wild to me. I can't believe it.
Well, I want to ask Sammy what's more wild. This is funner to talk about is them getting in and hacking into those tickets things, whatever they did there. Well, what do you think about that, Sammy?
Are you talking about to make it Neyland North?
Yeah. How many fans do you think actually will be at the shoe? Let me get it right. The shoe, right?
Yeah.
The shoe. How many people?
I mean, I just called it Neyland North. I think it's going to be orange.
Listen, there's still tickets available. I still have friends that are volunteer fans still thinking about making the trip.
So that means so it's going to be more than 3,500 Tennessee fans.
No doubt.
I want to see like a whole side.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't make it to the curve, I want to see orange on one side the whole way up. That means it has to be like 40, 50? They're about 50,000, 40, 50,000?
I mean, it's going to be.
Side. I ain't say the end zone, but it's the side.
Tennessee travels really, really well.
Yes, they do.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They were going to find a way to be at this game. But I'm stunned too. Defense travels and running the football travels.
Yep.
And especially in cold weather. So that's, actually the number one and two things. I think they have a great shot to win this game. It's going to come down to the quarterback.
It's just going to come down to the quarterback. This weather scenario and we'll get to your phones in a minute, 615-737-1045, because right now, they're saying that it's either going to feel anywhere between 21 to 25 degrees with a wind chill of 19 degrees. But I just think that this Tennessee defense is built for the weather. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel.
Omari Thomas was actually on 3HL yesterday talking about the weather and how this is football weather. This is what you grew up, the kind of weather you want to play in, especially when you're a big
There's one person that may have not grown up in that kind of weather, and that's a Tennessee quarterback. I mean, Nico has not played a lot of games, I would assume, in this kind of cold weather. So it'll be interesting to see, but maybe he doesn't have to play well. We got the phone lines lighting up right now. We're going to first go to Coach, who wants to talk about the Tennessee Volunteers. Coach, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Z, B, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Doing good. How are you,
Coach?
Blaine, you already know, baby. You know we already do this. You just said it. The problem is exactly what you just said, Z, a moment ago. QB hadn't played in this weather. When you come to my house in the Midwest, you may think that it's saying 20 degrees on the temperature gauge, baby. That's more closer like 5 degrees, and that wind blowing. You got that coming off the lake up there, baby. They got to come to play. And the question is going to be, can they run the ball and hold that orange in their hand without getting squeezed? Because when they put that defense on them, and, they run the ball, they're not going to be able to pass that much. I think that hopefully Tennessee can go practice tonight outside. That's what they're going to need, because it's going to be bone tilling, and that's going to be the telltale sign. I got the Buckeyes plus 8 this weekend.
Whoa, Buckeyes plus 8. So he's
Coach killing it.
I should have asked if he was
Coach
an
is
Ohio
from the
State
Midwest.
fan.
He's from the Midwest. I know exactly who that is.
Okay.
He's a basketball guy. Woo. But he definitely is from the Midwest. He's from Chicago.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man. I don't know. I just find it all very interesting. I mean, that has to be what Vegas is thinking, right? That it is the cold weather is swinging us. Because I just don't. The Ohio State team that I have watched this year, I've watched probably 3 or 4 games. I'm not I think Tennessee's the better team. Like, listen, they may have the better wide receivers, but Nico is a better quarterback than Will Howard. I think they have the better defense in Tennessee. I think they have the better running back and run game in Tennessee. So they win in the areas that you need to win when it's weather like this, in my opinion.
Well, Ohio State's defense is really good, and they match up like Georgia. Yeah. They have man-to-man corners. They can go back, true. And they have Caleb Downs, yours truly, the best safety in the country, and will be a number 1 pick even this year. He would be the number 1 safety, but he can't come out. So I think they match up. So here's why I think it'll be Nico determined and wide receivers. Can they get open? And how you throw the ball in the cold weather will matter. Can the guys catch the ball when it's thrown? Because if you throw it like a missile, that ball is going to be like a rock. So those are the things I think that make the difference in this game and will determine who wins this game. I think everything else is apples up. I think they're pretty much even. Now, their quarterback, Will Howard, I think, is going to have to perform well, too. And I think they can't play it safe just because, they don't trust in him.
Yeah, Chip Kelly's going to have to,
open
not
up
be as
offense.
Conservative as he has been.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's exactly.
Especially if you're going to sit here and say, as Ohio State fans, well, this is winter weather. You guys aren't used to winter weather. Well, show us that you're used to winter weather and throw the ball around a little bit.
Ohio State has guys from their national or, university as far as recruiting for their players. They have guys from Florida and everywhere else on their team, too, as well. So you think they want to play in the weather either? I mean, there's some guys that probably still haven't done it yet. Not to that extent. At night, 20 degrees. That doesn't happen very often.
And the wind chill. Yeah, then you got the wind chill coming in off that. I mean, this has gotten a lot. The weather, I feel like, has taken a turn for the worse in favor of Ohio State than when this game was initially announced. Taylor in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube and Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, wherever you get your Zone TV. The cold weather thing has been blown out of proportion by national guys, but the chest-out, tough guy Tennessee response has been overdone in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the factor that they think, but I think it can be a factor for both sides, which they have very talented. Ohio State, very talented receivers. We all know the Smith kid. So can they even throw the ball well in this kind of weather as well with the wind? So I think it's an even matchup. The quarterbacks are going to determine who wins this game. They're both going to try to run the football. Who will have the best? They both have really good defenses. So where's the matchup? It's the quarterbacks. It's the who plays the best, who can execute, don't turn the ball over, right? And the receivers catching them.
It will be so interesting because
Nico.
I mean, this is obviously game of the week, and I would say even game of the week, even including Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Like, I think this is the game of the week, right?
You just went the other way and said the NFL, and I said the balls are going to.
Well, I'm just saying. No. I was talking about the afternoon game. Now, I'm also talking about just ratings in Tennessee, which is totally different. But I do think that this game alone itself is the best slate on the Saturday. It's the best matchup.
Because it's an even match. Yeah.
And it's prime time, so it has no opponents. Yeah. Nothing working against it. It is prime time, 7 p.m.
Who you got?
I'm going Tennessee. Now, I'm very uneasy with going with Tennessee.
How does a Bama guy go Tennessee?
Because I just hate Ohio State.
That's you hate them more.
So I hate Ohio State. I also will say that I want Ryan Day to get fired, so Mike Vrabel will take the job.
Oh, right. Remember
so we can all be right. I like being right more than I hate Tennessee. So
my teammate.
Yeah. So there you go. See, I like being right more than I hate Tennessee. So at the end of the day, I want Vrabel to take that job because everybody has kept saying that they probably wouldn't. He would never take one. So I want to see it happen.
I predicted that he was going to take the job last year and it was going to be open and it didn't happen. So I look like a ding-a-dong.
It will be. It will just be in my mind. I look at it and I go, it just feels like Tennessee's the better team, the better coach team. the better defense, the better run game. I'm not saying that the Ohio State slouches in those areas, but I think they are the slightly better team in those areas.
I don't know if they're better defense. I mean, we got to look at those stats during the break. I thought Ohio State's defense was ranked up there, too, in a lot of categories, if I can recall. I don't know. I'm going to look that up over the break because I was really, intrigued with their pass defense. And then they have 2 good pass rushers as well. I kind of concern me a little bit with their, the UT's tackles. This is going to be a bone burner. I can't wait. I'm going Vols too, though.
Okay, so now the over-under for this game is set at 46.5.
Oh, I'm not good at over-under.
So, I mean, we're talking, do you think it's going to be, let's say, that's 27, 27-21 will get you there. Do you think that's going to be, is that too high of a game?
I think it's under.
You think it's under?
Yeah, what do you? You're the gambler.
It's cold.
I know.
Gotta think it's gotta go be under.
I'm from the Midwest. What are you talking about? I know exactly
if I were betting this game, I think I would go under and the points with Tennessee.
Balls. Yep.
That's just where I think. Well, let's go to Guy real quick in Columbia. Guy, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
This guy, Troop.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing today?
Okay.
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man. So my question is, I'm going to this ball game this weekend, right?
All right.
I need to find out where my Vols are sitting.
We need to know how you got your tickets.
Ticketmaster, man. Ticketmaster.
There you go.
Okay. Cheap, dude. Good seats, too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well,
I'm ready for it, man. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch Dylan Sampson get 230 rushing yards. And
230 rushing yards from Guy here.
Oh.
I'm writing that down.
Yes, sir.
I'm writing that down. I may bet that just for you guys.
Book it. DraftKings.
Awesome. Let's do it. Have fun. Hope you find some volunteer fans. I have no idea where they're going to be because neither of us are volunteer fans.
I'm hoping more will call in.
Yeah,
let me know.
And check the YouTube chat. There are a couple of people that are saying they were going, so maybe they'll be able to assist you there as well.
Right on. We'll get us a tailgate going. Go Vols, baby.
Go Vols.
Appreciate it.
There you go. All right, let's go to Ryan Callahan, who's on with us now. He's, of course, from GoVols247.com. And Ryan, we're talking about this weather. We're talking about the point spread, 19-degree wind chill, anywhere from 21 to 25 degrees is what it will feel like. Is Vegas overestimating the weather and how much it's going to impair Tennessee's ability to keep this a close game or even win?
I don't think so. I think they're just putting more faith in Ohio State. I think Ohio State gets the benefit of the doubt. They've obviously got the big name. They've been seen from the start of the season as a national championship contender. And I do think when these two teams are playing their best, Ohio State probably has the higher ceiling between the two. It's just, can Ohio State play at that level? As we saw in the Michigan game, that's a concern about this team. This is a national title or bust kind of team that they put together with some big names from the transfer portal, and Ohio State fans not really happy with where they are. But I think the bottom line is that number you see, I don't attribute that much to the weather. I could be wrong, but I just get the sense that they are that Vegas and maybe the betting public too, outside of the state of Tennessee anyway, is putting a little more stock in Ohio State, thinking that they are still the more talented team and the team with more upside when they actually play to their potential. And clearly some people must be expecting some sort of bounce back from Ohio State after that kind of ugly performance against Michigan a few weeks ago.
Well, I know they're basically the players are, have a lame duck head coach. If they lose this game, Ryan Day's out. So we'll see how that maybe plays into the emotions of the evening. But I do think I'm a big fan of this Tennessee defense, big fan of the Tennessee run game. Obviously, Ohio State has those as their strengths going in this game as well. But also look at the receivers for Ohio State. You got Jeremiah Smith, you got Amika, and you got all these guys. You got two future first-round NFL talents on the offense side of the ball. Is that going to be the deciding edge? Is going to be the pass game of Ohio State and the pass game of Tennessee being effective?
It very possibly could be. I think this is a pretty even matchup in a lot of ways. Just on paper, a lot of things that kind of maybe aren't quite a wash, but some areas where these two teams are pretty similar. Just for instance, run defense. Ohio State's I think ranked 7th in the country. Tennessee's ranked 8th. That's not to say they're mirror images of each other, but I think they have a lot of things that kind of complement each other, kind of well to make this a pretty even matchup in a lot of ways on paper. It just, that's the big question for me about this game is, can Tennessee win a game like this on the road? Because they've not been a great road team under Josh Heupel. And it's tough to win on the road in the SEC, and going to Ohio State will be, pretty much like going on the road in the SEC, and maybe even more intense with it being a playoff game and the type of atmosphere you're going to get. We'll see how many Tennessee fans are there, but that's sort of the next step for Tennessee is, can they win a road game like this at a tough environment, especially playing in that kind of cold weather that's, maybe a little more foreign to Tennessee's players than it is to Ohio State, at least a larger percentage of the roster, maybe not as accustomed to this, but I think there are a lot of things that you could point to as a possible X factor. I think Dylan Sampson might be as big of an X factor in this game as anything. Ohio State's run defense being as good as it is, can Dylan Sampson keep doing Dylan Sampson things against a defense like this? And can Tennessee's offensive line control the line of scrimmage? There are a lot of things, but I do look at Ohio State's passing game and those receivers, to your point, as something that Ohio State's got to take full advantage of. And Nico Iamaleava's got to play much like he did in the Vanderbilt game and has played down the stretch. He's got to be sharp because Tennessee's a little limited at wide receiver. They've been banged up there down the stretch, and it's been hard for them to consistently connect on big passing plays. So he's got to be good. Ohio State, if they want to win this game, they've got to take advantage of what they have at wide receiver, because I do think they have a bit of an advantage there over parts of Tennessee's secondary where some big plays are possible, but Will Howard's got to get them the ball, and those guys have to take advantage of it.
We're on with Ryan Callahan of GoVols247.com.
Yes, Ryan, we were just talking about that. So you said Ohio State's defense is ranked number 7. UT's is up there too. Are they 8th?
That's the run defense rank. So they were both top 10 against the run. Both of them are up there overall in total defense and scoring defense as well. Tennessee is 4th in the country in scoring defense. Ohio State number 1. So a lot of things they're pretty close then. But yes, it's 7 and 8. Ohio State allowing 96 rushing yards a game. Tennessee allowing 99. So a lot of things defensively that are pretty similar between these two teams. Just when you look at the big picture, but there's always the question with Ohio State. That this is sort of I guess you could view it as a knock on the Big Ten, maybe the depth of that conference. But sometimes you look at those Ohio State numbers, and a lot of years you wonder, is their defense that dominant, or do they play that many teams that don't have a great offense? Because there's not a lot of big number offensive teams in that league sometimes. Now, they've played Oregon. That's obviously a good team, and they played Oregon to the wire. So that's to Ohio State's credit, but just not a lot of high-powered offenses that Ohio State has played throughout the year. So you do wonder, facing an offense like Tennessee that is different from what they've run into a lot in the Big Ten. I mean, they've not seen an offense anything like Tennessee's with the space and the pacing of what Tennessee's going to throw at them. Tennessee's running, I think, 77 snaps per game. That's significantly more than most teams in the Big Ten. So they are going to have some adjustments to make there, I think, facing an offense like that, and you never know how that's going to work. But I do think that there are at least some questions when you look at those numbers where, okay, maybe Tennessee can have a little more success than those numbers might suggest, because Ohio State, maybe they're racking up some of those numbers against some offenses that frankly aren't that great. While Tennessee's offense, though, hasn't been what we've been accustomed to seeing under Josh Heupel. They've not put up 500 plus yards in most of their games. They've been consistently pretty good. So they still got to be pretty good across the board. But I think it's going to come down to quarterback play. I think it's one of the areas where Tennessee could have an advantage, because Will Howard's been pretty up and down. If Nico Iamaleava can be the best quarterback in this game, Tennessee's got a chance to win it. But he's got to continue to build on what he's done down the stretch. He was really sharp, I thought, in the Vanderbilt game, especially bouncing back from that 14-0 deficit early. They've got to get that kind of play out of him again, because I think he's still got to do a lot of the heavy lifting while Tennessee kind of gets its feet back under it at wide receiver. They're not quite as dynamic there as they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're with Ryan Callahan with GoVols247.com. Let's talk about the main thing about this game, Ryan, and that is the college football playoff ticket disaster for Ohio State. That's the main topic here, not the actual players on the field. How did this happen?
Well, I think a couple of things. One, you got a 102,000 seat stadium, and you've got weather that might deter some fans from being quite as eager to go to this game as they otherwise might. It's probably not as big of a deterrent for a lot of fans, but maybe for some. And then I think this is maybe an underrated aspect of this. I'm really going to be interested in seeing over the long haul how this works for the college football playoff. There's a lot being asked of fans. And if you're an Ohio State fan, and again, you've been viewing this team as national championship or bust, are you as desperate to go to this game, or are you more likely to save some of that money and invest that for your trip to the Rose Bowl against Oregon in the next round? That's a much more enticing game, much more enticing trip. Would you rather put $500 into tickets for this game or put that money toward the next round? When you've got 4 games to possibly worry about going to, that's a lot. So I think there are some fans that might be just choosing not to pay big prices, and Tennessee fans are obviously really eager to have a chance to see Tennessee play in a college football playoff game. So it comes down to the hunger level of the fan base sometimes, and I think Tennessee might be the hungrier fan base for this particular round because Ohio State's got their sights set on bigger things, frankly. And Tennessee fans are excited to be back on this stage for the first time in a number of years.
100,000 seat stadium. What percentage are going to be UT fans?
Man, that's a great question. I mean, we've seen all the numbers from the secondary market ticket sites and everything that suggest a pretty good number of Tennessee fans are going to be there. You know, anything over 15, 20,000, you've done a lot. I think it's probably going to be in that range if I had to guess, 15,000, 20,000, but it's going to be a pretty good number, I think. And that would be that'd be a really great number if Tennessee's in the 15 to 20,000 range. If they get to 30,000, that's where you start talking about a visiting team takeover there. We've seen a couple of those crowds. Alabama had some pretty big crowds in Neyland Stadium 10, 12 years ago when they were kind of at their peak and Tennessee was down. So we've seen that before. It's possible, but man, that's a lot of fans traveling. But I know Tennessee fans are hungry. They're excited. That's one of the things I'm most interested in seeing is how much orange there is in the stadium. Does it show up with winter clothes and winter coats on and stuff? We'll get the best feel for that we can. But I definitely think there's going to be a lot of Tennessee fans there. It's just a matter of whether we're talking 15, 20,000 or more than that.
Yeah, fans got to be sleeveless.
All right, last question. If Tennessee were to lose, what is the storyline coming out of that game about this team?
Nico.
I think Nico would maybe be part of it. Just the passing game in general, because it could be pass protection, it could be the receivers, it could be kind of all of it together. I think it's been kind of that's how I've kind of viewed Tennessee's struggles. The quarterback gets more of the blame, but I think he's been pretty good most of the second half of the season. It's just that Tennessee's passing game as an entire product has not been consistently great, and that's kind of put a cap on how much they've been able to do. So I get the sense this is going to be a close game. I don't think we're going to be looking at any one area of Tennessee's team that we say just let them down significantly and made this a 2 or 3 touchdown loss. But I do think there's a chance you look at it and just say, Ohio State was just a little more explosive, where their offense was just a little more consistent with the game on the line. Maybe kind of like the Tennessee-Georgia game was, where a couple early second half drives that just petered out just across midfield ended up being the difference in the game, where Tennessee's offense didn't score in the second half and Georgia kept the ball for a long time. That's the kind of thing that could really decide this game. So I think that's the big thing you probably point to. And I'm not going to rule this out, but Dylan Sampson's been pretty consistent too all season. If Ohio State was to have some success slowing him down, that's the one thing I think Tennessee absolutely can't afford. They've got to have Dylan Sampson rushing for somewhere in the vicinity of 100 yards at least, where it's hard for me to see them winning this game. So there's maybe a scenario where Ohio State, they got a good run defense. Maybe they live up to the hype and slow down Dylan Sampson. If they do, that's certainly one scenario where it's hard for me to see Tennessee winning this game.
Yeah, no slow start.
No slow start. Thanks, Ryan, for joining us. I know you have a busy day and a busy few days heading into this game, so we really appreciate you jumping on and previewing the game with us.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys.
That was Ryan Callahan of GoVols247.com. We'll talk more about what he had to say, give our final thoughts on this game. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop, Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop, and I want to know if you have heard about peptides. Peptides are shaking up the fitness world, and they are naturally occurring aminos in our bodies. So as we age, they start to decline, and at some point, they may need to be supplemented. This is why our workouts can stop being productive at the gym. So maybe you feel like you've hit a wall, or perhaps you feel tired all the time. You may be struggling to stay awake in the evenings when you get home from work. Well, if you have the thought this is just a normal part of aging, it doesn't have to be that way. Peptides are proven to increase muscle and performance, burn fat, and help with recovery between workouts and more. And peptides can even help with motivation and mental clarity. These are all safe, naturally occurring aminos, not pharmaceuticals, a natural and holistic way to get your body back to peak performance. Plus, Edge Peptide Therapy has the most comprehensive blood panel around. So when you go to Edge, you will know exactly what is going on inside of your body and what it needs to get back to peak performance. So feel better from the inside out. And all you have to do is just go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com. Or you can just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. Not that I want to bring bad juju or anything, because I don't know what the stat will hold. But Sammy has done some research on away games at a certain temperature, certain weather under Josh Heupel. So, Sammy, what is your stat?
Yeah, it's not looking good, I will say, as a Vols fan. Not looking good, but I've talked about this with Josh Heupel before. He has a hard time winning on the road. He really does, especially in tough environments. So I went through his record as a head coach at UCF, and he was 4-0 first season. That was the second undefeated season, but then went 3-3. And in that 3-3 season, had losses at Pitt, 35-34 loss at Pitt. Then it was a 27-24 loss at Cincy, and then 34-31 at Tulsa. All of those were really, really bad losses where he was up at half, and then it just seemed like the team mentally, they just really fell apart in the second half. So that season specifically, I know it was a bit ago, but that season specifically has me a little bit worried with those cold games. All of those were later
they were cold
in the season, cold games. That Tulsa one was frigid. It's probably the worst place I've ever been at my entire life. So then you got 4-1 after that. Then he comes over to Tennessee, and that 21 season goes 2-2 on the road, including the 48-45 overtime loss to Purdue that a lot of people will remember here in Nashville. Then got 3-2, and then you have in 23 went 1-3 on the road, including a loss to Mizzou, which I point that one out because he was previously at Mizzou. So I think that is another kind of tough environment.
Yeah.
You're going back to where you used to coach at. Lost 36-7, and then this year, of course, going 2-2 on the road. So in tough environments, especially that Mizzou game, it was at the end of the season. That's a really, really tough place to play in the cold. It gets really, I don't know why that field gets so cold, but it gets unusually cold. So I think with those 4 or 5 games that I pointed out specifically, I know that's over, 7 years as a head coach, but those are 4, 5 specific ones.
Stuff you got to look at. It'll be interesting to see how they handle the cold. Blaine, if Tennessee does lose, what do you think is going to be the biggest storyline coming out of that game?
I think it'll be Nico.
Yeah.
I think it's the passing game. When I really researched in Ohio State, I didn't know a lot about them. I was really impressed with their corners. So the passing game is going to have to be a factor. How much will it be a factor, or if not, Nico's legs? So I think Nico and whoever's quarterback plays the best win this game. I think both teams are going to try to run the football. They both have weapons on the outside. I think Ohio State, as a team, is a more talented team, actually, overall, especially at the wide receiver position. But I think they have just enough to get them, and I think Nico will be the X factor.
I mean, he kind of has to be, right? It's kind of what we've talked about. And when we say has to be, I mean, obviously they can win off defense of Dylan Sampson. But there's going to be a time throughout this college football playoffs where he's going to have to step up. It may be this game. It may not be. So. But at some point, he's going to have to step up. And it'll be really interesting to see because he's such a, even-killed guy. What is a big game environment like this against a big program on the road? Maybe it doesn't feel like a road game. Who knows? In this kind of weather, this is all a lot of big game elements in one game in his first visit to the college football playoffs. Probably first of a few.
But I love his temperament. I just think he's that guy that has that it factor. So I want to see if he continue to build off of their last game, which is hard to do after a couple weeks on offense. It seemed like he was up and down, roller coaster ride, and then you saw him finally kind of take grasp of the offense probably the last 2 or 3 games. So yeah, I'm really interested he can do it in a big moment right now in this game, which I think would mean so much to the Tennessee brass and their fan base. I think, man, the sky's the limit. If they get this one, then they'll probably eventually have to play Oregon right next. Is that the next? I think they have the toughest road. So then that will be huge.
Yep.
And I think then they'll have confidence.
Are we doing a clean sweep on Tennessee as winning, or is someone going to go against it?
I'm always pulling for my Vols.
Okay.
Don't get it twisted.
You were looking like you may not. I was a little worried.
You got a score?
No, I'm not. Like 20. I'm going to go 24-17 Tennessee Volunteers.
24-20 UT.
There you go.
I like that. I'll go 27-24.
There we go. There you have it. There's our official predictions. When we come back, we're going to talk about what everybody is still getting wrong about Brian Callahan's comments about being soft. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
You read the article?
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. We're going to go straight to your phones, and we want to go to Mark in Murfreesboro, who wants to talk about Callahan in the last 3 games with Rudolph. Mark, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, gentlemen and my lady. I think these last 3 games should be an evaluation, of course, Callahan, but I also think that Callahan could possibly use in these 3 games to see if Mason Rudolph could be the bridge quarterback moving forward. I mean, these are all division games and very, very important games to us. And if Mason Rudolph comes out and slings it and even if he throws an interception or 2 in these last 3 games, I think it's okay. But what do you think about Callahan evaluating him to see if he could be a bridge until we get our guy maybe 2 years down the line?
Hey, great call, Mark. I think that's extremely possible if you really think about it, especially if their plan of attack is to bridge quarterback for a few weeks or maybe half the year or a full year and go ahead and draft maybe a Jackson Dart or a Dylan Gabriel. I'm just throwing out names out there, not that I believe in these guys or anything. Right. But maybe they draft one of those guys in the 4th or 5th round, and they're like, okay, well, we got Mason Rudolph. We know he can operate based on what we've seen these last 3 games. He can buy us some time. He's going to be a little inexpensive, but we know that our offense runs on time, so we can save some money, build around Mason, or build around the quarterback position even further and use our resources maybe on some defense, some playmakers, because that's what this team really needs. It doesn't matter if it's on defense or offense. It doesn't matter if it's an XYZ receiver. It doesn't matter. This team needs playmakers and game changers, and there are a few in the draft that can get you, some draft picks that can get you there, and there's probably going to be some free agents that can get you there as well. And maybe going cheap with Mason Rudolph for a year, if he performs well, is a path. Is that the preferred path? Is that the path of, the best path forward? I don't think so, but I think that is a possibility that Mark brings up.
Yeah, I really love this question. I hadn't thought about this, and it's only based off of Mason Rudolph's performance over these next 3 games. I think that's what you were talking about there. So do you sign him if he does play well or up to the standard? Do you think he can buy you some more time? That comes with a lot of confidence in the way he's playing so that he can duplicate that and even get better till you do get your quarterback. So then what would be your B plan if it didn't work out, but he made you believe it did? See, then you go to the next layer of your thought process. Say, okay, let's say he plays well enough and you go 2-1 in these divisional games. All right, you say he can be our bridge quarterback. You sign him to a 1-year, 2-year, or 3-year deal. Probably really doesn't matter because you can break the contract at any point in time. Yeah. Anyway, we'll determine how much you give him, though, per season. Then do you draft a later round quarterback? And when I say that, I mean mid-round guy who maybe you're taking flyer to develop, and then you bring in your franchise quarterback the next year because the draft is better, and maybe there will be more options there too as well. So that could be the best case scenario, is that Mason Rudolph does play well and can be your bridge quarterback, where then you pay him 7, 9, whatever the number is for those bridge quarterbacks, and give him a 2 or 3 year deal and see if you can continue that to buy you some more time. That's what you do know, is he will run the offense and he will be efficient. Now, will he give you some wow? Because every game, a quarterback has to do 2 or 3 plays, I think. And it's not just wow. It's you made the right decision that actually won the game.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're evaluating at this point in time. So, I'm interested to see if he can do it. I don't know if he really can. I just think we're going to do what's asked of me, and that's it. But if he can, man, he would be a lot beneficial. I mean, it would be beneficial to the Titans as well as to him in his career.
And I haven't brought it up all week, and I've been meaning to, but Jonathan Hernandez in the YouTube F&M Bank chat on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, where you get Zone TV, says, when he talks about Mason Rudolph, I almost rather have Teddy Bridgewater, because Teddy Bridgewater is unretiring.
I saw that.
He was at coaching. He's a guy that is known for his completion percentage. Mm-hmm. He's known for being able to run a bunch of different offenses. He has a little bit of playmaking ability, probably more than Mason Rudolph. But again, You're talking about a guy that's been out of the game for a year. And traditionally, when you are out of the game for a year like that, where you're not practicing every day and you're not in the rigors of the NFL offseason and training regimen, like it happens. I mean, Le'Veon Bell sat out a year and he was never the same. Deshaun Watson sat out a year, never the same. Like it happens. Or Hassan Reddick, where we haven't heard from him and he missed most of the year because you got to get in football shape. I like what Teddy Bridgewater brings in theory, but I don't know if what he's going to be right out of the gate is going to be good enough to keep this staff afloat or keep this, team competitive because he hasn't played in forever.
Yeah, for me, Bridgewater's not even. I mean, he's not part of this equation anywhere, even going to next year, just because he set out for a year. Sorry,
yeah,
that's really hard to, especially the quarterback, because everything's about timing. You lose a little bit on that, and getting hit. That's a tough task there, man. And then how old is he? I mean, he's got to be in his mid-30s by now.
Yeah, I think 32, I think.
He's only 32. I feel like he's been around for a while now. He's been on a lot of different teams. So I don't know. That may be an agent-driven deal, but that's not the first thing that comes to my mind unless I'm in a desperate mode there. I probably go Trevor Siemian, even though I'm not a fan of Trevor Siemian. Just somebody who's in the league, who's been doing it, who's been practicing, knows my system. I just would go down that route.
He just turned 32, so he'll be 33 in November next 33.
Year. So that one there, I saw that he's come out. He won, national. He won a state championship, I think, at 5A there in Miami. Did a great job as a coach. And I would first ask him, why did you sit out for a year? What was the reason? It sounds like you had a plan now.
Yeah.
You did it immediately and then became a coach.
Yeah.
So you were already planning to retire. And once you have that plan and seated in your brain that you retire, and then he immediately got a coaching job, he had already knew what he was going to do. He knew his plan B. So why now come back? What's your reasoning for why you left and then why you come back? And once you start doing all that, then you'll find out really I don't think he's all in. And you have to be all in to play in the National Football League. And I'm talking about your mindset.
Yeah.
And all in. If not, there is no coming back. I mean, people were calling me, once this, season was over, I'm at surgery, and I'm like, man, it's July. There's no way I can get up to speed to now train and be available. I've already turned off that competitive nature, that training mindset. As an athlete to play at this level, there's no way I could make a comeback. Maybe you can do it more so if you say he's going to be a backup quarterback, but not if you're saying he's going to be the bridge quarterback. No.
Right.
No, I couldn't do it.
It will be interesting to see how this quarterback market shapes out because you're talking about you had, 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round last year. That's creates a real supply demand issue because there's going to be some supply of some quarterbacks. Then you got the quarterbacks in the draft, probably 2 that are probably for sure going to get drafted in the first round by teams. And so how many quarterback openings are there actually going to be in quarterbacks available? Because it will be very interesting to see how that all shakes out because that also influences who's actually going to be in the Sam Darnold sweepstakes? What's the market going to be like for Brock Purdy, who's wanting a new contract and extension? Is this where we start seeing the market maybe shift like we have been talking about back to not overpaying average quarterbacks or mediocre quarterbacks?
I'm going Josh Dobbs. I'm already putting a claim to it.
Josh Dobbs.
I wanted him in the beginning.
Can I say something real quick?
I like the way I don't get. I think a Bridge, you win in twofold there. Also, they said he had concussion problems. Bridgewater. That's why he retired.
Yeah. Duck Falling, I've seen him do it in our chat before. I've seen him do it in the RK Dub chat as well. He keeps bringing up Deshaun Watson. I hope that he's trolling because Deshaun Watson was the one quarterback that is worse than Will Levis in the NFL. And all that baggage off the field, that disgusting stuff.
He's not even in the no way. No. Now, if you want to get fired, yes.
Yes. There you go. When we come back, we'll talk more. We'll get to your phone calls because we got phone calls are lighting up. 615-737-1045 if you want to try to get in on the conversation. We'll get to the phones. We're going to keep it going. Talking Tennessee Titans, talking the quarterback situation, and talking the team. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard. Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. If you guys want to get in on the conversation, we're going straight to your phones here in just a second. But we're talking about the quarterback situation. We're talking about the coaching staff. We're talking about the team. Everything Tennessee Titans in this hour. But first, we're going to go to Clayton, who wants to talk about Will Levis. Clayton, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, didn't mean to holler at you in the wild there today, Blaine, but I do appreciate you stopping and hollering at me.
Oh, what's going on, man? That was fun time, man.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, I mean, just unless somebody just wows me in this college football playoff, I mean, I just really don't – I mean, I don't think we're going to be in a position to grab somebody that's valuable. So what bridge, kind of veteran guy do y'all see, them being able to even go after and get that's, plausible there? And I'll hang up and listen. Appreciate you guys.
No problem, Clayton. I mean, we were just kind of talking about that off air, running through. I had a friend send me, Mike Herndon, who also called the team soft, wrote an article about it. Got to name names when you're on the show. But he sent a list last night because we were all talking in a group chat about the quarterback situation. And he listed these teams are in the market. Now, these are the teams that he listed that are in the market for sure. I'm going to take a few of these teams off. The New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, Tennessee, Cleveland, New Orleans, Carolina, Indiana, and Pittsburgh. Okay? I'm removing Carolina and Indiana because I think they're going to run back with those guys next year, and they'll probably keep like an Andy Dalton and Joe Flacco in-house. So you can remove Andy Dalton and Joe Flacco maybe from the scenario of bridge quarterbacks. Pittsburgh's interesting because what do they do with their situation? Because not only is Russell Wilson – on a one-year contract and leading the team, but they also have had the chance to evaluate Justin Fields, who's sitting behind him, who's also a free agent. So they have a chance to extend one of the two, if not maybe both. But I think that one of them would at least test the water. So there's a possibility of either Russ, Fields, or maybe even both if they decide they want to enter in the Sam Darnold sweepstake. Because could you imagine Sam Darnold in Pittsburgh with Arthur Smith and that defense and Mike Tomlin? That is a team that should be on your radar for the Sam Darnold sweepstakes. But Russell Wilson and Justin Fields would then become available as bridge quarterbacks. Both guys that I would be interested in here at Tennessee. Justin Fields, I know he's got some situations associated with him, but I do think as far as his talent concerns and accuracy concerns, but I really did like what I saw early in the year from Justin Fields and his growth being in an Art Smith offense.
He started hitting it a little bit at the end of the Bears there the last 6 weeks too in the passing game.
Giants and Raiders, obviously at the top of the draft currently, penciled them in for the rookie quarterbacks. Cleveland, I think I'm going to take them off because I just don't, as far as the expensive prized free agent quarterbacks, because it's that situation. You can't go out and pay $37 to $45 million, whatever it may be, for Sam Darnold while you still got Deshaun Watson on the payroll as well, taking up a large chunk. You got Myles Garrett. You got all these high-priced players. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, but I don't think that is going to be a high-price situation. They may still bring back Jameis Winston, right? Like, they could maybe roll with Dorian Taylor Robinson.
Or someone Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, or Mason Rudolph. There you go.
They know him.
New Orleans is in a unique situation. Depends on how much dead cap they want to take on, but they can cut Derek Carr. And then there's another quarterback that enters in the market that also brings down the value of Sam Darnold. Like, the supply here, as we run through the list, the Jets are an interesting scenario. What if they cut bait with Aaron Rodgers? These are these interesting scenarios that come through. And 615-737-1045 if you want to get in on the conversation. But these are the scenarios that come through. When you start really breaking it down, there's not a lot of homes for a lot of these quarterbacks to get starting time. And that's what really, when people are like, well, why would Sam Darnold want to come here? Well, first off, look at the quarterback market. Second off, maybe Tennessee pays a little bit more. There's no income tax in Tennessee, so that extra money would go a long way. Or he knows that he's the unquestioned starter. And sometimes the availability of being able to play and be the unquestioned guy and the unquestioned starter is also an enticing situation. And I think Sam Darnold would want to come play for Brian Callahan. This idea that, listen, it's a 3-11 team, I get it. But good quarterbacks go to bad teams all the time in free agency and help improve the team. That's what happens in free agency. This idea that Sam Darnold wouldn't want to come here because they're a 3-11 team is just not understanding how the NFL works, I feel like.
Well, I'm not going to say just because it's a 3-11 team. I think it's about who are you competing with to get it. Do you come to the Pittsburgh Steelers or do you come to the Tennessee Titans? And so, they have their offensive line together. All righty. So you say, well, I'm not going to go to this. It's going to be, and then the Titans then have to give him more money than the Pittsburgh Steelers to get him to come because they're always going to follow the money. And with the state income tax, as you brought up. So that's where it becomes addition. It has nothing to do with the records. It has to do with what's around him. You got some big time receivers. Oh, we can settle that. We already have one. We can get you another one.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll get another one. So I would say more so the offensive line, if I'm a quarterback and my weapons I'm throwing to. Really matter more so than anything.
Especially because Minnesota's offensive line has been pretty terrible this year. So, not as bad as the Titans, but the Titans got a real head start on everybody else in the league.
So, and then some of those guys are free agents. I think you told me too during the break. So I think it's more about that. So I think the domino really that's going to dictate what's going on in free agency with the quarterbacks is the Pittsburgh Steelers because they have two decent quarterbacks. I think we can say that now. They are good, solid players in this league. You may still be, a flyer on fields, but I like what I saw the last 6 weeks of the season with the Bears, and I like how he started off this season as a passer. We all know he can run and he has special talents athletically, but it finally started clicking to him in the offense, and they had to make a decision there on that 5th-year deal. So it depends. Do you think he's a bridge or are we somebody that's going to take a minute to really get it home? You don't want to be any parts of that if you're the Titans. You want a proven commodity. So who are you going after? So I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will dictate free agency and be the first domino if they sign Russell Wilson or if they
especially
sign
think about this
or go in a different direction.
What if Atlanta cuts Kirk at the same time that Derek Carr cuts? Derek Carr gets cut in New Orleans. That's 2 more quarterbacks that enter the fray, that enter the market. The quarterback market is just going to be so interesting to keep an eye on as we go through all of this. Let's go to Ryan in Lebanon who wants to talk about Will Levis. Ryan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are y'all?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So I want to talk about the quarterback situation for the Titans. And look, this is not the orange-tinted glasses that you think I'm wearing. It's not. But I think the Titans could make a deal with Detroit, go get Hendon Hooker. Okay, he can run this offense. I really think he can run Callahan's offense. And I actually heard that RK Dub was talking about it a few days ago, but I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. And, guys, we don't talk to you again. Happy holidays. Y'all take care.
I think I said it last week.
Yeah, happy holidays there, Ryan.
In a swap trade with Levis.
It would be interesting to see.
I don't know if he's a starter, but
I mean, how much are you going to have to pay to do it? Right? I mean, because I don't think there's an even swap scenario. I think there's going to have to be a pick swap with it because, and I think maybe you're getting a 7th in return for a 4th round pick. Because, I mean, they know what they got in Hendon Hooker. They're taking on the unknown, right? Hendon Hooker's been ingrained in their system, knows their system. They're taking on a guy that they have seen not even be able to execute the system here in Tennessee the way they want it. And that's what they want. They want a system, whoever may be the OC, maybe Ben Johnson's not the OC, but I would assume they keep a similar system in place that they have seen works for this team. So I don't know if that is a situation that's... I love talking about it. I love the idea of it because I would much rather have Hendon Hooker than Will Levis, but we also don't know what Hendon Hooker, the starter, even looks like. And I feel like you're going to have to send Will Levis in a high pick for Hendon Hooker in a lower pick. And I don't know if that's really feasible in the NFL world.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. You're taking a flyer. You don't know what he actually really can become here. But from a business perspective, it doesn't work out. At least people can come and watch him.
Yeah, that's true. Let's go to Ryan in Shelbyville who wants to talk about the quarterback situation. Ryan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right.
I appreciate you guys. I'm ready to, move away from Levis. And Rudolph's been great, but we know he's not an NFL starter. I would love to see the Titans go out and get a guy like Justin Fields, one who's going to be cheap, one who's going to be hungry and want to prove he can play in the league, but who can also be athletic enough and do enough to allow us to be competitive and not get killed by an offensive line. I just don't want to see the Titans draft a quarterback, again, even if it's in a late round, without having the offensive line shirt up. They've got to get the offensive line shirt up before we even talk about who is our franchise quarterback. And so I think a guy like Fields could come in and be competitive, make some plays, keep us in games, maybe even make enough plays to win some games, and get this thing back on the right track and get some momentum going so we can find that franchise guy. But that's my take. I'll shut up, listen. You guys have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff.
Same to you.
Crap, wrong one. So, yeah, same to you. So it's interesting. So I'm pulling up the efficiency stats. You know, I like my efficiency stats.
Yeah, it's a great stat though. Great stat.
The Russell Wilson is 16th in the NFL in terms of adjusted EPA per play. So that's what we call my efficiency. That takes out the luck of turnovers, takes out the offensive line play, kind of makes everything a little bit more equal. And he's 16th, 0.119. Justin Fields, during his starts, is 17th in the NFL, 0.116. So this offense was being efficient with this same Russell Wilson offense that you were seeing was being efficient. And actually, Justin Fields was creating plays at a higher success rate. The reason that he is on the bench is because of that draft class or that draft pick that goes up if he reaches a certain amount of snaps.
That was in the contract in the trade.
Yeah. So I do think that there is something there with Justin Fields. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't think both these guys leave that building. And I do wonder, are they going to choose the older guy that is not really carrying them, but is at least quarterbacking them into, playoffs, scenarios and all this kind of stuff? Or are they going to go with the younger guy, Justin Fields, who kind of showed that he could do the same thing?
You're talking about Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and here's what I think is going to happen. That's why I said Pittsburgh is the team with the domino.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go as far as they can, and they're going to hopefully Russell Wilson can take them to promised land because I think Tomlin is under a little bit of pressure. I know he got a new contract and all, but to have success in the playoffs. He's lost in the first round, I don't know how many times here recently. You're going to go fact check that too, by the way. I see you over there typing.
Oh, wait, now what do you want me to fact check real quick?
That Tomlin is lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
It was 2017.
So there's pressure. So that's why you lean into the veteran guy. So if you don't make it past it, they then may pivot and then go with the young guy. So I hope he's available. But there's one thing about Fields that makes me nervous, and it's more personally what I like in my quarterback. And this is going to sound really weird. He's too athletic. And when I say that, I'm talking about he leans into his athleticism than more than lean into it being a polished quarterback in the pocket. So his first instinct is to run when things break down instead of to maneuver and continue to look downfield because the ball can go further when you throw the ball, as long as you're not throwing it to the wrong team instead of your legs. And so that then hence lends me to the history of the NFL in running quarterbacks winning Super Bowls and pocket passers winning Super Bowls. So I don't know if I'll really go on that route, but I do like him a lot. And I haven't watched a lot of film on him here recently because he hadn't played here lately. But, man, he brings a lot of things to the table. So that's the only thing has it clicked for him of being a more of a passer outside and inside of the pocket than a runner because we know he can freaking run and he is an athletic quarterback. But some coaches, especially the Titans, may think this may be okay because our offensive line isn't really set yet. We don't know what we're getting.
And we want to run some bootlegs. We want to do a couple more. We can do some RPOs. We've done it with Levis. We could do some RPOs with Justin Fields. We love the bootleg. Justin Fields can do the bootleg. Hey, listen, Russell Wilson made his career off the bootleg pass. I mean, it was like, these are guys that may not sound exciting. Right?
I still don't know what's in between the ears, though.
I know what's between the ears, but these are guys that may not sound exciting to fans that we're talking about, but they're guys that can at least provide you wins. Yeah. We at least know that they're better than Will Levis. 615-737-1045 if you want to join the conversation, talk to some quarterbacks. Because, Daniel Jones is essentially just more experienced Will Levis because I see people all the time say, well, you could just get Daniel Jones. And maybe sitting in the Vikings offense is that next step for Daniel Jones, to be that Sam Darnold 1 year, Baker Mayfield kind of quarterback. I'm not buying it. I'm not really sold on Daniel Jones. Like, if you're going to go Daniel Jones, go Justin Fields.
No,
that's how I kind of view it.
Right. Well, I'm going to go back to what I said. I would have picked him up. I would have picked him up and put him on the practice squad, exactly what they did. Guess what? I get a survey and a sample size of what he really is. And then potentially, I could have thrown him out there this year. That's why I said sign Daniel Jones. But everybody thought, oh, he's horrible. Well, guess what? I want to see what he looks like in person. Can he pick up the offense? How quickly can he? Can he actually run an offense? And guess what? If Mason Rudolph, I don't have to dress Levis, I could play Daniel Jones and get a true picture in a game to see what he would do.
Okay.
I wanted to
Can
pick
I say
him up.
something real quick?
I wanted to pick him up. Yeah,
Here you go.
I know you were.
Listen,
right
no.
there.
He's still on the practice squad. So
anybody
that signs him just has to put him on the final 53, of your team. You got 3 weeks where you're already a 3-11 team. You got Trevor Siemian on the practice squad. Don't cut Will Levis. Don't cut Mason Rudolph. Cut one of the 5 tight ends.
Right.
And bring in Daniel Jones.
But now we're at the point now, how much
just too late?
Pick up the offense?
Yeah, it may be too late.
That's why I said they should have done it.
Hey, I agree with you. They should have signed him earlier. All right, let's go to Jay in Murfreesboro. Let's talk about the quarterback situation. Jay, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, fellas, I'm out here in the Boro. I appreciate y'all taking my call, and I just want to say real quick, and I know y'all going to think this is silly and crazy and all that good stuff. Maybe, I don't know if somebody said this already. I don't think they did because it is silly and crazy. But how about let's go Aaron Rodgers for 1 or 2 years, and he can groom these guys. And I know y'all think that's crazy, but think crazy about it. He loves it here, doesn't he? Does he love it in Nashville?
I mean,
somebody said he's building a house here. That was last year.
Here's where I'm at on Aaron Rodgers. Thanks for your call.
Man, that's a lot to pay for there, man.
I'm not trusting him to mentor anybody. He didn't even want to play with he didn't even want to practice and play with the wide receivers and that were new on the team because they drafted Jordan Love. I mean, he's not a guy that you want a quarterback learning from, and I don't think he would do it. That's where I'm at. I just don't think he would do it. I know. Listen, Jeremy Fowler, who reported the benching of Will Levis a couple days ago, he wrote an article about latest buzz. He's like, keep an eye out for Aaron Rodgers if he gets cut or something. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It would be wild. It'd be great for us as media members, but I just don't know really on this team if that's a guy that you really want to bring in, because I just don't see that he's that good anymore.
Well, we're getting him a year after Achilles. See, Atlanta Falcons are getting the year with Achilles, so now you're getting a year removed. The major factor is just his locker room presence, who he is. He's just not a leader in that manner to be mentoring or anything like that. So I would have to be super desperate and no other options and would consider it then. Other than that, Aaron Rodgers, he's just throws
it's
players
not a
under the bus all
terrible
day.
idea, but it's just not for me.
I'm not going to throw it out. I'm going to say this. If you have no other options and you're trying to bridge and you're trying to save your job and this is your last option, I would have a thorough conversation with him about, and if he slips up anywhere, and I would even put in his contract.
Yeah.
If he says something that is derogatory to not only his teammates, but also to the coaching staff.
He ain't going to sign that.
Then Gary, you go. Then it tells me my decision.
615-737-1045. Last chance for phone calls. When we come back, we're going to go to Mike in Cookeville, and whoever's calling in right now, we got some lines open if you want to join in on the conversation. We got a lot to talk about. We didn't even get to half the subjects I wanted to talk about, but that's okay because I love talking to the callers. All right. When we come back, we'll continue that. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop, Zach Lyons here, 104.5 The Zone.
Quarterback.
Hey guys, we have so many great relationships with so many great partners across 2 decades here at 104.5 The Zone, and one of our favorite parts of working with so many great companies and people who run them is the opportunity to deliver on what those businesses are trying to accomplish with both digital and one of the strongest radio frequencies in the Southeast. 104.5 The Zone has a strong reputation when it comes to maximizing reach, and that is what we are here to provide for you and your company and business and your employees. We want to make sure that we are working together towards those goals and that's what your local ad representative will be able to help you out with. You can also go to 1045thezone.com/epic for more information.
Hi, everyone. Dawn Davenport Babs from 3HL. Listen, it is so successful if you advertise with us. Radio and digital, you put those two together, and it is a win for your business. And we would love to help you out. Plus, I always end up using our advertisers and doing whatever service they do. I've got backyard, windows, everything, because we want to help you grow your business. So reach out to us. Let us know. Let us help you and your business. All you have to do, go to 1045thezone/epic. Hey, it's Kayla Anderson.
Hey, folks, you know I've been talking about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance for years because they're the leading experts in sports medicine and performance and the team physicians for the NFL, college, and high school athletics across Tennessee. And TOA provides sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. They have 29 locations throughout the state and over 100 physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. And TOA has 11 urgent care locations with walk-in availability 7 days a week. They offer direct access to sports medicine and performance, physical therapy and nutrition, personalized rehabilitation plans to enhance mobility, reduce pain, and improve overall physical function for patients recovering from injuries or surgeries. And TOA also offers sports performance training, a specialized program designed to enhance athletic performance and provide tailored training solutions for athletes at all levels. So please check out their services at TOA.com. Yes, that's TOA.com.
Hello, I'm Ashley Northington, Chair of Moving Forward of Middle Tennessee. The upcoming transit referendum is a game changer for our economy, business leaders, and the entire community. A robust transit system is essential for a thriving economy. With 54 miles of high-capacity transit corridors and 86 miles of new sidewalks, this plan enhances Nashville's connectivity, making it easier for everyone to get where they need to go. This isn't just about transportation, it's about economic empowerment. For business leaders, reliable transit means a more productive workforce. Shorter commutes boost productivity and job satisfaction, helping businesses attract and retain top talent. Improved transit also drives sales and supports local economies by making it easier for customers to reach businesses. The benefits extend to the entire community, connecting people to essential services, education, and recreation. This creates a more inclusive city where everyone can access the resources they need to thrive. Supporting the Choose How You Move transit referendum is an investment in our future. This is about creating a city where businesses can flourish, residents can thrive, and the community enjoys a higher quality of life. Join me in backing this transformative opportunity. Let's build a Nashville where everyone has the opportunity to succeed and to prosper. Visit the link in the caption to learn more about the referendum, how it will support our community, and how you can get involved. Thank you.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. I was informing Blaine of the Athletic article detailing the New York Jets using Madden and all this kind of stuff, and the decision makers basically being influenced by their teenage sons, who I don't even think are in college yet. If my time and my math is right, what I remember, they may just be barely in college, or influencing the decisions via Twitter, stats they see on Twitter, and all this kind of stuff. And we were talking about the 33rd team because they interviewed Jim Nagy. They've interviewed Thomas Dimitroff, Lance Reddick, John Robinson. I feel like I'm missing one more in there. And it's just,
fantasy football.
It feels a little fantasy football, but it feels like 33rd team who got hired shortly after they fired Joe Douglas a few weeks ago. They're like, well, we've been pretty quiet. We need to get paid, so let's just start interviewing people. That's what it feels like. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mike in Cookville who wants to talk Tennessee Titans. Mike, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, just want to say love the show here. If we can, just for a second, can we talk about the other side of it? Where do you guys see Levis going to give him the best opportunity to succeed?
That's a good question, Mike. I think sorry if I cut you off. I think I land at either Seattle. I land on the West Coast. I think it's I think Seattle or the Rams could give him time to sit behind a quarterback and would give him the best shot. I would also say Tampa Bay is in that if Liam Cohen does not get a head coaching job elsewhere. But if, let's say, Liam Cohen, his former offensive coordinator and head coach at Kentucky, just offensive coordinator at Kentucky, gets a head coaching job in the NFL, that could be a team that you may trade to. So it'll be very interesting, but those are the three teams that popped up front of mine. I can't even talk.
I'm gonna just give you one because I don't know how it all is gonna play out, but the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
because they're gonna the domino, and they can say, well, he did well against them. Remember, he almost won the game. He threw a pick, so they don't forget.
Yeah.
Whether they're right or wrong, that's what happens in the league. Guess what? They'll simplify for him because that's what Arthur Smith does.
That would be
as a backup, not as the starter. As a backup. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So and I agree with all those. The only starting place I think that he could go is somewhere wherever Liam Cohen goes that doesn't have a quarterback already. If he gets a job.
I'm talking about backup.
Yeah. That's where my guys were too. My teams were backups. James in Chattanooga wants to talk Tennessee Titans. James, you're on Blaine Zach.
Yeah. I want to talk about the presser with Brian Callahan.
Okay.
And it fired me up. It's very encouraging. The one thing that does worry me is that it could be pause for Amy Adams to terminate him with cause. Yeah, so I mean,
in what way? Just because he cussed?
He cussed, and they featured on ESPN last night, and that's what kind of triggered that in my head. So I'll hang up and let y'all talk.
I don't even think that's anywhere near the possibility. I think if anything, if you're the owner, you look at that and you're like, hell yeah. And Vrabel cussed as well. So, I mean, I don't think cussing, that would make the owner look really, really bad if that were to happen. Let me just say that. Because nobody is coming to work for you if they can't cuss.
I can see how some people look at that way, but I would say this. It brought attention to the Tennessee Titans, whether you like it or not, or whatever.
And it's largely been positive,
right? So I would say I would differ on that. I think the owner, if I'm the owner, it brought attention on a bad season that they are fired up and that the coach is fiery and we need a little bit of fire. So good publicity, bad publicity is still what's publicity for the Titans.
Speaking of publicity, just real quick, I want to play this clip from First Take where Stephen A. Smith and Dan Orlovsky are talking about Brian Callahan's press conference.
I don't blame him for it. He would know, and he should defend his team. We all know that the real problem with the Titans is that they don't have a quarterback. We all know this. We don't even know. I judge this, Dan, obviously from a football analytical perspective, I'll leave that to you. But I remember seeing coaches. I've never seen coaches go up to an opposing coach after a win and hug the losing coach and hold on to them as much as they hold on to Brian Callahan. They're saying to him, man, we know this ain't you. It ain't you. You ain't got a quarterback. It's not your fault because he hasn't really had a chance to coach his team. I love his personality. I love the way that he holds guys accountable. You look at them, they do play hard. I don't think we can look at the Titans and say they don't play hard or anything like that. And I'm certainly not going to be a non-football player looking at football players and calling them soft. I think that's very disrespectful. I don't think anybody in the media should be doing that. But the way you disprove what people are saying is you make sure your team goes out there and continues to show that in spite of the disability they have at the quarterback position, that everything else is taken care of.
So, one, anybody who knows football and that watches the tape and watches this team play knows that whatever or whoever called this team soft is completely ridiculous and has no idea what they're talking about. Two, I know Brian Callahan. There's nothing soft about Callie. His dad is one of the great offensive line coaches in the history of the NFL. You don't become that being soft. He's cut from the same cloth as his father. Their defensive coordinator, Denard Wilson, is from Baltimore. He's from Philly. Like, he coached at those places. They're not soft. I just called Monday Night Football when the Falcons played the Raiders. The Raiders haven't won a game since September. They're not soft. They're not good. It's a bad football team, but they play hard. It's the same thing in Tennessee. So I don't know exactly where this came from, but whoever said it or kind of intimated it should have apologized. There's nothing soft about Tennessee.
And by the way, just because a team is losing doesn't make them soft.
All right.
You got men playing in the National Football League. And so you could say they're not very good. And that's why I defend Callahan in taking the position that he taken and articulating it the way that he did, because, you don't, just because a team is losing, it doesn't make them soft. You got a lot of cats out there that are hardcore, that go after it. But you have people at skilled positions who aren't nearly as skilled as they need to be. Totally. And that ultimately leads to your downfall. Yeah. There is a difference, and you can draw the distinction. To just lean on calling a football team as soft, I think that you got to be very careful of saying stuff like that.
I mean, just real quick, just want to say I'm not saying that Stephen A. Smith and Dan Orlovsky listened to our show yesterday, but I'm also not saying they did. Right. Because, I mean, that sounds like a lot of what we just said, and we're here. They see it from the outside looking in. That tells you really everything you need to know about that situation.
No doubt.
Let's go to Tyler in Kentucky, who will close us out. Tyler, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's up, Tyler?
You got it.
So I want to talk about the Titans draft pick. I don't think that we should go wide receiver or quarterback in the first, 2 rounds. I mean, I think we take Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell to try and bolster down the offensive line. And then I think we take Nick Scorton, if he's available, in the second round. Because we're going to have an early second-round pick. So if he's available, I say we go with Nick Scorton and Kelvin Banks.
Thanks for your call, Tyler. So we're a long way from draft, and I haven't watched all the film that I want to watch or anything, but early returns so far. Abdul Carter is my 1A. Luther Burden is my 1B if they're available when they're picking at the top.
These are wide receivers?
Well, Abdul Carter's the edge from Penn State. Yeah. I think he's number 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is.
And then, of course, Luther Burden from Missouri. I don't know his number off the top of my head. I have to start learning numbers for you. That's on me.
My whole thing is now, I just want to know what's the priority in needs.
Yeah.
So I'm not even started watching film yet. I'm looking at, is it defensive end more so, or do I then take second pick right tackle?
Yeah.
And then I come back to third round. I don't know what the strengths and weaknesses of the actual draft is. And then that kind of will help me prioritize what guys I'm taking where. But I think I'm still going to always be with pass rusher number one for me in this draft.
Yeah, and my concerns with Kelvin Banks is that he may be under 6'4", and he looks like every bit of he's going to have a length issue. And his power, his college power, is being likened to Peter Skoronski, who had power issue, whose power was good in college but would not translate to the NFL, and he was a guard. And Will Campbell is definitely looking like a guard. So I would look at the other side this weekend. Maybe this is what we'll do tomorrow, is I'll tell you some people that you should be looking at the bowl games this weekend. But Cameron Williams, the right tackle over at Texas, is a guy to keep your eye on and a guy that could provide value in the second round. So that's where I'm at. Gotcha. Real quick, Stoney Keeley, who's on Football and Other F Words with me tonight, 6 p.m., right after 3HL on Zone TV. He says that if Jim Nagy takes the Jets job, we got to make Blaine Bishop director of the Senior Bowl.
I don't know.
There you go.
man.
We're promoting you.
Y'all trying to get me out of here,
Hey,
man.
listen, we'll come down with you. We'll be your Senior Bowl scouts, me and Stoney will.
Oh, man. I
There you go.
appreciate that, guys.
All right, that'll do it for us. 3HL's up next. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime...
And in between time.
Peace.